Take a deep breath. Gently let go of everything around you for a moment and allow your spirit to settle into a quiet space. Maybe you've been carrying a strange emptiness lately, a quiet ache, a longing you can't quite explain. It feels as if someone you loved is still near, whispering from beyond, wrapped in silence. And somehow, without words, you feel them, still loving you, still watching over you. Have you recently found yourself feeling unsure, a bit disconnected from the peace you once knew? Do the days feel heavier, the nights longer? There's a reason for that pain. But there's also something beautiful waiting on the other side of it. A light that's been set in motion just for you. And it may be closer than you think. What if today, through this message, you discover that you're not forgotten? That the love you thought you'd lost has taken a different shape? One that still surrounds you, guiding and protecting you. If this speaks to something deep inside of you, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below saying, "I welcome the light into my life." Stay with this message until the end. There's something here your soul has been waiting to receive. There is a kind of silence that doesn't come from the world. It comes from the soul when it brushes against eternity. In that silence, time dissolves, space disappears, and what remains is love. A love so deep, so true, it continues to live, long after breath has stopped and bodies have gone. This love becomes presence. It becomes light. And in that light, those who have passed are still here, not with footsteps or voices, but with an invisible warmth, a gentle nudge in moments of need. They surround us when we least expect it, when our strength falters, when a tear falls quietly into our pillow, or when we feel a sudden peace that we can't explain. They come, not with words, but with a deep knowing. And sometimes when the heartache becomes too much, they reach out beyond the veil, not to return, but to protect. One such soul, someone you once held close, has not forgotten you. They've felt your struggle. They've watched your spirit carrying more than it should. And in that realm of grace, they've done what only love could inspire. They've called upon an ancient guardian, the warrior of light, the protector of the faithful, Archangel Michael. You see, Michael doesn't respond to fear. He responds to love. Fierce, enduring love that crosses dimensions. When a soul speaks his name with purity, when the plea comes from a heart that's loved without condition, he answers. He moves, not in thunder or flame, but in divine precision. Through signs, through guidance, through protection that feels like coincidence but never is. Perhaps you felt it already. That shift. A decision made easier. A weight that suddenly lifted. A voice in your intuition that grew louder just when you needed it most. Or maybe it was a feather at your feet, a dream soaked in blue light. Or a sense that you were not alone in a room that should have been empty. These are not tricks of the mind. They are answers. Responses from the other side. Archangel Michael has been sent, not because you cried out, but because someone else did. For you. Someone who has not stopped loving you. Someone who still fights for your peace. And Michael, in all his celestial power, heard them. He stepped into your world quietly, without fanfare, but with absolute purpose. He does not announce his arrival. He does not seek praise or worship. He comes to restore order, to surround you with unseen strength, to guard your spirit when you feel weakest, to clear the path when you've lost your way. He doesn't change your life in an instant, but he walks with you until you remember your strength, until you feel safe again. This is not about visions or voices. It's about presence, about moments when you suddenly feel guided, protected, or even embraced by something beyond understanding. When your heart whispers, "I'm okay," even when the world still feels chaotic. That whisper is his presence. That calm is the echo of a promise kept by a soul who once held your hand and now holds your light. What you're experiencing isn't imagination. It's intervention. Divine, personal, intentional. And though you may not have asked for it, your pain was seen, your name was spoken in prayer, Your journey was placed in hands capable of holding it all. Michael does not come to remove your burdens. He comes to help you carry them, to cut away what no longer serves you, to shield you from harm unseen. He comes because someone who once walked beside you now walks in eternity, and they will not let you face this life alone. Let yourself feel that. Not just believe it, but feel it. In your breath, in your body, in the quiet between moments. This is not an idea, it's a living truth. A divine arrangement set in motion not by chance but by a love that still knows your name. There are moments when something shifts within us, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a curtain lifting. And suddenly, what once felt heavy begins to lift. The confusion begins to clear, a strange stillness takes root, and without knowing how or why, you feel just a little lighter. This is the quiet work of divine forces. Archangel Michael doesn't arrive with spectacle. He enters in silence and strength, removing what no longer belongs in your path. He doesn't ask you to see him nor to understand every detail. His task is to move where he's needed, called by love, anchored in purpose. And that love, pure, unwavering, and eternal, came from someone who once lived beside you. Someone who saw your silent pain from beyond this world and offered it up to heaven. They knew what you needed before you could even name it, and they asked Michael, the divine warrior, to intervene on your behalf. Michael's response is never random. He does not act from sentiment but from sacred alignment. He answers the cry of a soul that still loves you deeply, one that speaks, now through spirit, not voice. And he comes bearing light that doesn't blind but gently illuminates. A light that reveals what must be seen and protects what must be shielded. You may not have known what was unfolding around you. You might have simply felt a sudden sense of safety. A thought that said, "You're not alone." Maybe it was a dream, rich with symbols. A feeling that someone was standing just out of sight. Or a scent, a breeze, a song that played at just the right time. These are not random. These are signals. They're spiritual threads pulling you gently back into alignment. Michael walks beside you now, not in a grand parade but as quiet presence. His hand is not always felt, but his effect is unmistakable. He may protect you from an accident you'll never know was near. He may delay you just long enough to save you from harm. He may put words into your heart that lead you to healing, or send someone across your path who holds a key you've been searching for. This is the sacred movement of angels, precise, loving, unspoken. And in all of this, there's something deeply humbling. This intervention did not begin with your prayer. It began with theirs. The one who left this world still carries your name in their light, still thinks of your struggles, still sees your potential. And their love was powerful enough to set this entire divine motion into being. You are not walking this life alone. You are walking it accompanied by an angel whose sword clears what your eyes cannot see, and by a soul who once walked beside you and now walks within eternity, still sending love across the veil. Perhaps you've noticed how some fears don't linger as long, how certain doubts begin to lose their power. Maybe your nights feel less cold even if nothing outward has changed. That's the protection at work. That's what happens when the divine steps in, not to erase your journey but to cushion it, to soften what can be softened, to strengthen what cannot. This is not magic, it's not fantasy, it is love in motion. Love that traveled through dimensions. Love that took form as a whisper to the archangel. And in his radiant silence, he answered. He answered you because someone else's love for you never died. It simply changed form. As you move through your day now, start to notice. Not with anxious eyes, but with calm awareness. Notice the subtle signs. Notice the places where things feel just a little easier. Notice the calm before what used to be chaos. Notice how your inner voice becomes steadier, wiser, stronger. This is the fruit of the unseen work. This is Michael's presence stabilizing your inner world. And through it all, the soul who loves you watches with peace, knowing that you're being protected, that you're being carried when you're too tired to walk. that you're being reminded of who you are in ways only the divine can manage. Let yourself receive this. Don't resist it. Don't question it. Let it flow into your being like warm sunlight. On a winter day, you don't need to do anything, just allow. Allow the energy to settle. Allow the love to reach you. Allow Michael to work on your behalf. Because right now, he is. As you begin to walk with the awareness that something greater surrounds you, your rhythm changes. Life doesn't suddenly become effortless, but it becomes supported. You stop feeling like you're battling everything alone. The air around you feels different, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You are no longer walking only with your own strength. You are accompanied, watched over, protected. This is what it means to live under divine protection, not as a fantasy or escape, but as a deep inner truth. Archangel Michael doesn't promise to take away the storms, but he stands in them with you. His presence becomes a shield, not a wall to isolate you, but a space where healing can begin, where fear doesn't dictate your every decision, where pain doesn't have the final word. His energy is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It reveals itself in the small sacred moments. The breath that calms your panic. The clarity that returns when you thought all was lost. The quiet strength to say no when you need to, or yes to something that once terrified you. These are signs of his nearness, not dramatic, not always visible, but deeply real. There's something sacred about realizing you're being held, even when you didn't ask to be. Someone you loved knew your soul was struggling, and from the other side of life, they did something extraordinary. They spoke your name into the light. They offered their love as a prayer. They didn't just remember you, they acted for you, and the heavens answered. Michael doesn't show up for every whisper. He arrives when love speaks with such purity that the entire divine realm moves. This love, the love that called him, is timeless. It was with you when you were born. It was there when you laughed, cried, succeeded, fell. And now, even from beyond, it continues to move. This is the love that summoned an archangel to your side, and his presence changes things, not instantly, not always in ways you can see. But quietly, foundations are being rebuilt within you. Old wounds begin to loosen. Inner walls begin to soften. You start to feel safe, not because the world became safe, but because something within you finally feels held. Sometimes the shift is so subtle you might miss it. But pay attention. That sense of peace when you open your eyes in the morning, that feeling of being carried through a hard moment, that insight that arrives just when you're ready to give up, it's him. It's the unseen hands of grace doing what they were sent to do. This is the sacred mystery of divine companionship. When heaven moves toward you, it does so through the hands of love, through a soul that refused to stop protecting you, through an angel that never fails to answer a true call, through moments that seem ordinary but are anything but. You might find yourself no longer needing to explain or justify your faith. You begin to live it, silently, powerfully. You begin to trust, not just in life but in something beyond life. And that trust creates space for healing, for release, for renewal. Michael's protection is more than spiritual armor. It is realignment. It is restoration. It is divine intelligence weaving safety into the fabric of your life, redirecting what could have harmed you, clearing paths that once seemed blocked, not always with signs you can name, but with outcomes you'll one day look back on with awe. And as you continue forward, something in your soul will begin to rest, because you know now that you were never forgotten, not by the one who loved you in life, not by the forces of light that guard your path. You've been known all along, protected even when unaware, held even in silence. This realization doesn't come with noise or drama. It arrives gently, like sunlight on closed eyelids, like warmth returning to a place you didn't know had gone cold. That's what divine love feels like, not always loud but always constant. So if you've wondered why things have begun to shift, if you've felt a calm in the middle of uncertainty, trust it. Let it in. It's not accidental. It's not temporary. It's the result of something holy being set into motion, a love beyond life choosing you again and again across the veil of time. And in that love, Michael walks beside you. At some point along your spiritual path, a quiet realization begins to settle in your heart. You're no longer living from a place of fear. You're no longer reacting to life as if it's out to harm you. Instead, you begin responding from a space of trust, of knowing. And it's not because everything outside of you has changed. It's because something deep within you has. When the presence of Archangel Michael enters your life through the power of divine love, something starts to realign at the core of your being. What once triggered anxiety now stirs clarity. What once overwhelmed you now teaches you. This isn't by accident. This is the gentle restructuring that comes from divine guidance, placed in motion by a soul who loved you deeply, so deeply that they still intercede for you, even from beyond this world. And while it may seem invisible to others, you feel it. You feel it when your shoulders relax for the first time in days, when your breath deepens without effort, when your thoughts begin to quiet, as if your soul finally found a place to rest. These are not minor changes. They are evidence that spiritual protection is already working through your life. This is how divine presence moves, not through drama, but through restoration. Not by removing the struggle, but by lifting the burden that makes it unbearable. Not by erasing your history, but by rewriting the meaning of your pain. The presence of Archangel Michael allows you to carry your story, not with shame, but with sacred purpose. And when you remember that this intervention came not from your own plea, but from the soul of someone who still loves you in the realm of spirit, everything changes. You begin to feel part of something much greater than your own thoughts, your own limitations, your own understanding. You feel connected to a spiritual lineage that includes those who walked before you and those who still walk beside you, just out of sight. That connection offers a kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. You no longer seek to fix everything or make it all make sense. You start to rest in what is. You trust that somehow the pieces will come together, not because you force them, but because you're being guided by a force much wiser than your own. This is the transformation that unfolds quietly within you. You begin to listen more deeply, to move more slowly, to speak with intention, and you begin to notice how much space there is within you now. Space where fear once lived, space where anxiety used to echo, space now filled with light, and in that space, something beautiful begins to grow. Resilience. Not the kind that hardens you, but the kind that allows you to bend without breaking, to face uncertainty with calm, to meet life's changes with the faith that you are never alone in them. This is the work of divine protection, not just to shield you, but to awaken you to your own sacred strength. And slowly, you begin to see that you were never as lost as you thought, that perhaps even in your most broken moments you were being led, not away from yourself, but back to who you truly are. And so your heart softens, not because the pain has vanished, but because love has reclaimed its place. The love that called out to Archangel Michael, the love that walks with you, still, the love that whispers even now. You are not alone, you never were. Let this truth settle into your bones. Let it fill the quiet places in your soul. You don't have to perform for it. You don't have to earn it. It was given to you freely, out of love. The kind of love that transcends the veil between worlds. The kind that becomes light, then movement, then miracle. And now that miracle lives in you, in your healing, your peace, your growing sense of wholeness. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, not because you've gained something new, but because the veil is lifting, and you're remembering what was always there. There comes a moment, quiet and unassuming, when something deep within you whispers, "I'm okay now." Maybe not because everything has been fixed or every question answered, but because something inside you has realigned. There's peace where there once was restlessness. There's space where there once was sorrow. And in that stillness you realize, you are not walking this path alone. You are wrapped in an invisible grace, carried not only by the strength of your own heart, but by the love of someone who still holds you in theirs. Someone who left this world, but never left you. Someone who loved you too deeply to remain silent in your pain. Their love spoke on your behalf. Their memory called down divine intervention. And Archangel Michael answered. Now you move forward not with fear but with quiet trust. You begin to meet each moment knowing that something greater is guiding your steps. Not with loud signs but with a calm that flows beneath the noise of life. That calm is your proof. That peace is your gift. That love, still active, still alive, is your companion. Let this be your new truth. You are held, you are protected, you are loved in ways you cannot see, by forces you cannot imagine. And even in the silence, even in the uncertainty, something sacred is unfolding on your behalf. So walk gently, breathe deeply, and remember, your path is lit not only by faith but by the unshakable love of a soul that still walks with you, through the wings of an archangel. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to continue your journey here with us. Explore the other videos on this channel. Each one carries its own light, its own healing. Like this video if it brought you peace. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future messages of comfort and spiritual guidance. Leave a comment below with the words, "I walk with the light," to anchor this moment in your heart. Until next time, may peace walk beside you and always.